Hi, Steve.
Hey, Chris and Adam, how you guys doing?
Doing good, Steve. Doing good, my friend.
Good.
To have you on our program. We've been trying to get you for a year and a half, and thank you
Happy
so
to be
much.
with you.
Yeah. First of all, before we start, I want to say we're sorry, condolences to you and your family with your son. Tragically in the military and all that stuff. And
Thank you.
we're really sorry to hear that. We love the military. I had some people in my family are in the military. It's really hard during the holidays. That's really not a good time.
Yeah. It's almost surreal. Sometimes it's like you don't even really believe it yet, and so you just try to go on. You never move on, but you try to move forward, and I think that's important.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, he enjoyed your life, right? He watched you as a baseball player, so he was there every day in the locker room with you, right?
Yeah, he was there a lot. When he wasn't in school, he was there with me, and he enjoyed being around the players. And he was just the greatest guy. My son was my hero, and if you guys would have known him, you would have really loved him. That's just the kind of person that he was. So
that's cool. Yeah, we say a prayer to you and your family all the time. So.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I was doing. I grew up watching a lot of baseball when I was a kid, and my brother. When I texted my brother today, I said, "Hey, I got Steve Sachs on the show," and he's like, "Oh, the LA Dodger guy." I was like, "Awesome." Yeah, yeah. My brothers and I are big Met fans since we were kids, and we know you from the Dodger days. Yeah.
How much did you hate me in 1986 when we beat the Mets? I mean that if you were a Met fan then. Right. So
yeah,
but
in '88, in '88 when you guys had that classic series out there in LA, it was.
In '88, that's when the World Series.
I mean, 86, we ran people over.
Yeah.
So
88 was the year because we played the Mets 11 games during the year. One game was washed out, so we only played 11. We had 12 scheduled, and they beat us 10 of the 11 games during the regular season. And then of course we beat them in 7 games in NLCS. So they had a great team, taking nothing away from the Oakland A's. They did as well. We beat them in 5 in the World Series, but I thought the Mets were probably even better than the A's. That's how good a team they were.
Yeah. I had a clip for you on my YouTube page to get you to come on my show, and you had a 2-run single off of Ron Darling.
Yeah.
In game 7. And were you looking for a pitch in that sequence? Were you looking for what were you looking for?
I'm not sure what the count was, but most of the time, I'm looking for something hard, and I think he tried to get the ball up here, but he didn't. He kind of got it down a little bit lower, and that's right where I like him, right up the high fastball. I love that pitch, and that's where he gave me, and I was fortunate to get a good swing on it. Ron Darling's a really good pitcher, and he's a super nice guy. I worked with him when we retired at the National Sports Report, and got to dig into his head a little bit about how he structured his pitches and how do you sequence the hitters and whatnot. He's really a fine man and a really good pitcher. He was.
Yeah. So let's talk about your early days. You lived in Sacramento, California. Were you an Oakland Athletic fan? Were you a Giant fan? Were you a Dodger fan? Were you?
For you? As I grew up in West Sacramento, in a farming district. We were farmers. We had horses, pigs, chickens, cows, the whole thing. And I remember telling my dad one time, as we were watching the game of the week of the Dodgers and Giants going at it, my brother and I watching the game with my dad, and I said, you know what, Dad, if the LA Dodgers ever drafted me, I wouldn't play for the Dodgers for $1 million because I was a big Giants fan, right? So because if you grow up north of Fresno, which I call the line of indoctrination, if you grow up north of Fresno, you're a Giants fan. If you go south of Fresno, you love the Dodgers. That's just the way it is.
Okay.
So I grew up, in the north there, and I said I wouldn't play for the Dodgers for $1 million, and that was me in 1968 at the age of 8 years old. 10 years later, when the Dodgers drafted me, in fact, out of high school, it took $985,000 less for me to sign with the LA Dodgers. Yeah. Look, I was a busboy at a restaurant, and they threw $15,000 at me. And $15,000 to me was huge money. So, of course, I was the richest person in my whole family by far. And I jumped on it. And then, it's funny because my junior high school coach, told me as I was drafted out on the second to last day of school, put his arm around me, walking around the school, and said, "Hey, look, I just got to be honest with you, man. I'm trying to come at this as your friend. Don't sign with the Dodgers. You're not ready, and you're not going to make it. You'll be back home, driving a truck or whatever. But don't do it. Just go to college and take that scholarship to Arizona, and do it that way. So 3 years and 2 months after this coach in high school told me not to do it, I was playing in the World Series against the Yankees. So sometimes they can't tell what's ticking in your chest. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, and plus a lot of hard work. You were like in the 9th round, so you're like, okay, well now a 9th rounder. Yeah, they don't give people in the 9th round any respect. So they're thinking like, because you see it a lot now in baseball. Like you're drafted in the 9th round, this probably just go back and be a broadcaster or something like that.
You're like a placeholder, for other people. So I don't know if that was, I thought I was going to get drafted higher, but I wasn't. 9th round pick. I came from a very, very small school, and they probably thought the competition wasn't as great as, some of the other schools or whatnot. But, I think that's a bit overrated, because I think if a scout can see a guy's bat speed, they can see him run, they can see him throw and whatnot, and they can kind of get a good bead on what he's got. So
that's true. Hey, Adam, you got a question?
Yeah. First of all, I can remember watching you play with the Dodgers and the Yankees. I'm originally from New England, so I'm a Red Sox fan. So it's like, and I also grew up on a farm up there. So, but what was your initial reaction when Kirk Gibson had the walk-off homer in Game 1 of the World Series? You were on deck, and the legendary Vin Scully was on the broadcast for NBC Sports. What was it like to see it on deck?
Well, Adam, I was thinking to myself, how am I going to win this game? And those thoughts were even shot forward faster when Mike Davis stole second base. I thought there's a chance that they just might walk Gibby and let me get at it, but they didn't. They pitched to him. So I was trying to think how I'm going to approach Eckersley and try to win the game. And then, he met that pitch, and I thought, well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That ball is way out of here, and this game is over. And there was something more than that home run going on. There was a momentum that our team felt coming from the series against the Mets, and it was just it was some kind of this is just happening the right way for us, and we caught everybody at the right time. But we had an amazing team with unbelievable unity. We had great unity on our team. We didn't have as much talent as the other guys, but we had phenomenal pitching, and we had great unity. And we played really good defense throughout that season. And in the John Shelby made some incredible plays in center field against the Mets. You remember that. And up the middle, we did what we had to do, and we just had tremendous pitching. Oral had that year where he broke Drysdale's record, and we had tremendous chemistry on our team. Our chemistry, never seen anything like it. We took Kirk Gibson, who wanted to, let me give you an example of what it was like in the locker room. Okay. On my left, I had Mickey Hatcher. On my right, I had Kirk Gibson. Okay. You could not get two more polarizing personalities than Mickey Hatcher and Kirk Gibson. Okay. One guy wanted to put on a clown suit and be a court jester in the clubhouse, and the other guy wanted to bring out an Uzi and just wipe everybody out and piss them off the wrong way, right? So, and then there was me in the middle, who's very normal and average, I guess you'd say. But we had these two. That's kind of like the personalities, but we were able to turn Kirk Gibson into this football mentality where, last time I saw him smile is when he saw a 5-car wreck on the freeway. Okay. The guy wasn't laughing all the time. He was there to do the job and pissed off if we weren't doing the job. And then we turned that, once we had some success, into a guy that was laughing, smiling. We had a mantra on our team that Tommy Lasorda started. And the mantra was, I won't say it because it's a family show. Lincoln team. Okay. And it started with, and every time we won a game, Kirk Gibson was leading the charge. What a fun team. I mean, and this is what we did. And we got so much out of that. And we had so much fun during the year. We were having fun. And we played so many jokes on Tommy Lasorda. You would not believe what we did to him. We did things to him that you can't even imagine.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe it to the max.
Then when the game started, those players would have run through a brick wall for him. And because he made this a family. It's the only time really in my career I felt a family atmosphere.
Wow.
And this was it. This was it. There was no secrets on the team. Everybody was loving everybody else. We had no issues. Everybody genuinely loved everybody else. And yeah, we had more fun. And then when that game started, boy, you saw a 180. You saw guys that would that would run your mother over for a base hit. And that's the way it was.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Wow. Yeah, Steve, I got to ask you, what type of hitter were you? Because I know when I was growing up, I heard a lot about Tony Gwynn. He was more like, you find holes, you find like, what type of hitter were you at the plate? Were you like a power hitter? Were you trying
my approach at the plate was, I wanted to get 200 hits every year and steal 40 to 50 bases. And sometimes I did it. But that was my goal every year to do that. And I tried to get on top of the ball and hit down on the ball, down and through the ball, use the middle of the field as my guide, and hit the ball hard on the line or on the ground. I didn't want to hit the ball in the air too much. Now, later in my career, I started pulling the ball more and actually hit double digits in home runs towards the end of my career. But my goal was not to hit home runs. When I hit a home run, I was the most surprised guy in the park, believe me. And so I tried to, let the ball travel, hit the ball the other way. Even if the ball's down the middle of the plate, I could hit that ball over the second baseman's head for a single. And singles to me were great because then I could turn that into a double with a stolen base or a triple, So my goal was to create havoc, wear that pitcher out, and piss a lot of people off on defense. That was my job as a hitter.
That's true. Hey, Matt, you got a question for Steve?
Yes, I do. So, other than the Kirk Gibson moment, what other great moment do you have as a player in general? Is the first question. The second question is, how was it like to play at New York Yankee Stadium in front of all those fans?
In Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take the first question first. Is what were some of the other highlights that I've seen in my career?
Yeah.
Oral beating Drysdale's record was amazing. Winning 2 World Series, amazing. I got kind of a little backstory when I won the Rookie of the Year. When I was 13 years old, I thought I was going to win the Rookie of the Year in the Babe Ruth League as a 13-year-old rookie in the league. And they gave this Rookie of the Year trophy to a guy that lived further out in the country than I did, way out there. And I knew I had a better year than this guy, but they gave it to him because he was new in the league and whatever. And then 9 years later, I actually won the real Rookie of the Year when I was 22 in the major leagues. And so that was a big comeback for me, and it was something that I really cherished. So doing that, but there's nothing like being on a World Series team. I mean, there's just nothing like it. And I was fortunate to play with some great athletes. I mean, Gibson was a great athlete. Don Mattingly was one of the best players I ever saw. Played against George Brett, Kirby Puckett. Steve Garvey was a teammate. Dusty Baker was a teammate. I played against Pete Rose. I mean, Mike Schmidt. I was fortunate to play against some really, really good Hall of Fame baseball players and having battles with Nolan Ryan. I faced Nolan Ryan 100 times in my career. And I had some battles with him, and so it's really kind of funny because of, back then, even now, if I saw Nolan Ryan today and met him, it's almost like when you meet Sandy Koufax, you almost want to genuflect, right? When you meet these guys, but you have to go to battle against them. But so just, I've been so blessed. Baseball's opened every door for me. And I'm really humbled even to be thought of as a guy that, played all those years. And I look back and I just think, man, did it all happen that way? And it happened so fast as well. Mm-hmm. So it's been an unbelievable time.
Yeah. And then the question you asked about Yankee Stadium, the old Yankee Stadium, what was it like playing there?
I loved playing in Yankee Stadium. My first time in Yankee Stadium, I'm playing catch with Mattingly, and it was a rain delay. I think it was opening day in '89, and we're playing catch real fast. And some guy here in the stands there says, "Hey, Sax, throw me a ball." just like that. And I said, well, I can't really do it right now. I'm playing catch. This guy went into a tirade against me. I can't believe we traded you and got Willie Randolph and got you, blah, 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 blah. He went into this. So I stopped. I caught the ball, and I looked over, and this was an 8-year-old little leaguer telling me this. I said, oh, wow, these people are really advanced. And the kid had a mustache. You know what I mean? I thought, he's like, it's amazing. He's 8 years old in Little League, and he went into me, boy. I'll tell you what, he went into me. But it's okay. I love the fans in New York because they understood the game. They are very knowledgeable, as they are in most of the Eastern places as well. Like mostly because that's like places like Philly, and you play the Mets and the Yankees, and places like that in the East really seem to be very knowledgeable about the game and trends that are happening currently and up to date on everything.
Yeah. I got to ask you a backtrack about Nolan Ryan. I was watching this documentary last summer, about chasing Ryan, and it was something about Pete Rose when he faced him, and he was the fastballs and the curveballs. Why was Nolan Ryan so difficult to hit? Because I know his curveball comes up and just all of a sudden the bottom falls out of it, and then he gets you up with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and you're like, okay, I'm done.
Okay, let me correct you a little bit.
Yeah.
They recently did a video, a life-size video of Nolan Ryan being clocked on today's standards. Now, back when we played, they clocked the ball coming across the plate. Today, I think they clock the ball coming out of the hand, or vice versa. It's one of the two. So they clocked Nolan Ryan in a life-size video of today's standards, how they clock the pitchers today, and his number was 108.
Wow.
108 miles an hour. Okay, so I don't know how much harder the guys throw today. I don't think it's as much as they say, unless Nolan was throwing 108. But they had Nolan at 102, 103. But today it's 108. So I mean, I've seen players up close today throw, and the hard guys, and I'm like, okay, It looks kind of about what we saw. I would say overall, it's probably a little harder overall, but night and day, no way. No way is it night and day. We had guys that threw that hard, but Nolan Ryan, to me, I was a fastball hitter. So to me, it wasn't the fastball that I worried about so much, but it was, like you said, Chris, it's that curveball. He would throw that curveball like above you and behind you.
Yeah.
And when that ball comes out of his hand, you better hope it's a curveball, because that's a fastball. You're in big trouble. Because Nolan Ryan clearly threw harder than anybody that's ever lived, and it's not even close. I mean, you could talk about Bob Feller, and they raced him against the motorcycle going 100. I get it. I know. You can talk about Koufax or Randy Johnson and blah, blah, blah. Nobody threw as hard as Nolan Ryan. There's no question about it.
Yeah, that's true. Nolan Ryan was, and the sad thing is he didn't do so well in New York with the Mets. And when he went to Anaheim or California Angels, he was like, he had a pitching coach that knew who he was.
Well, he was so young in his career too with the Mets, right?
Yeah. He was all over the place. He was like, Randy Johnson, when he first came up from the majors, like he might kill somebody with his fastball,
Yeah, but Nolan Ryan was such a competitor. I mean, he tried to intimidate you, looking at you. And I remember one game in the Astrodome, I hit 2 triples off him, and the second time, he was backing up third, and I slid into third, and he was backing it up, and he started walking the mound, and he got right next to me, and I just turned away. I don't want to look at him because I knew that the next time up he was going to drill me. But thankfully, they took him out of the game. He was out of the game. We hit him up a little bit. He came out of the game. I was like, I'm glad he's not in the game right now because I know what was coming.
Yeah, because I was going to tell you a story. I heard Pete Rose was up at the plate, and he goes, all right, Nolan, throw your good stuff. I want to get a single off you. So he's in batting practice, and Nolan Ryan walked by and goes, Nolan, I'm going to hit you today. Okay, go ahead, bud. Do the best you can. Yeah. And then, the first at bat, Pete Rose strikes out on the curveball, the classic curveball. And he goes, all right, that's the first time. The second time, he blows the gas, right through him. Yeah. And then the third time, he finally made contact, and Nolan Ryan puts up his glove, knocks it down, and Pete Rose is running down first base going blank you, blank you, blank you, blank you, blank you. All the way to the first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two of the greatest ever going at it. And I'll tell you what, you should see Nolan in the weight room after the game. Yeah, I mean, it's not he's just going out there and doing it. He put in the work. This guy was a consummate professional, and that's why he played so long and could throw that hard for such a long time.
Yeah. I got to say something. Your publicist, Linda, sent me a message today. You're doing speaking at the New Hampton School in April.
And I know I know exactly where that is in New Hampshire, really? Steve. I'm from New Hampshire. One of my best friends' fathers used to teach at New Hampton Prep School.
Are you kidding?
I know exactly where that school is. I'm
looking forward to that. Actually, it's Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn does a lot of work. She works with a lot of players and she set this one up in New Hampton, New Hampshire. Never been there.
You'll like it, Steve.
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be able to speak to a school there, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. She did a great job on doing that one.
That's cool. Well, we got one. I have one last question before I let you go because we're up against the clock here. Your first home run in the major leagues and your last home run. Do you still remember your first one and your last one?
Yeah, I think my first one was in St. Louis off of Steve Shirley on an 0-2 count, and that set me ablaze. Man, we were on a road trip and I was struggling a little bit, but I hit a low inside slider for a home run in St. Louis, and then I was off and running. And I think my last home run was against Tim Leary when I was with the White Sox, just before I retired. But hey, you guys, I wanted to ask you if you could put it out there about my podcast. My podcast is called Sacks in the Morning, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 to 5 minutes of just a shot of inspirational motivation to start your day. And then every other Thursday, we have a long form guest, and it could be anybody because the byline to the podcast is Sports, Money, and Life. And so we have all kinds of different people come on, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 to 5 minutes is all it is. You can listen to it going to work, getting ready for work, whatever it may be. But I think you'll enjoy the podcast. We just had our second biggest week ever for Sacks in the Morning, and we're closing up here on close to 300 shows. So we've been around for a while. We're doing great.
That's cool. We've been doing this every Tuesday night, and we're trying to get the people we need to get, and it's hard when you do everything social media, and you get people to tune in, and you probably have bigger budgets than we do,
Well, I don't know. You try first goal, break even, right, and then you go up from there.
Right.
But
that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's been an honor, having you on the show tonight. It's great to, have a chance to talk to you, and maybe we could do this again sometime. Before I let you go, what about the Dodgers, real quick? Because, Freeman got hurt in the World Baseball Classic. What did you think about their chances with that injury?
Which one got hurt?
Freeman. Yeah,
that's right.
Freeman. Yeah.
Freddie. Yeah, I mean, losing him is huge. I think the fact that they didn't sign Trey Turner kind of hurts a little bit. I really like that guy. He's an amazing player. I thought he would be an MVP someday. I interviewed him a couple years ago at Citi Field when they were playing opening day against the Mets, and I told him, I said, someday you're going to be an MVP. And he goes, really? Okay, yeah, but he might do it this year. I think missing him is going to hurt quite a bit. Also, Gavin Lux is out for the Dodgers, the shortstop. So Miguel Rojas will probably be the shortstop. He's a really good player. But I think they got a shot. Kershaw, if he can stay healthy, I think is going to be a big help again for them in the leadership role for that pitching staff. Dustin May will be back. So they're going to be tough again. But, boy, the Padres are loading up. They're going to be a tough one to beat this year.
Yeah, but don't forget, Steve, the Dodgers have Mookie Betts.
That's right. And Mookie Betts, you saw in the Classic, he can play second base or right field, right?
Mookie Betts can throw. It's called. He's very talented. So,
absolutely.
We missed him in Boston.
Yeah, that's right. Mookie Betts is one of the best players in the game. Just a ton of talent. Hey, I wanted to tell you too, since you guys are Boston fans, is my nephew is right on the cusp of getting there with the Red Sox. Nick Sogard.
Right.
If you guys follow the Red Sox, Nick Sogard. Is my nephew. Check him out. He'll be in. He was in Worcester last year.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, if I see them down in Norfolk, if they play against the Tide, I'll take a trip down there.
Cool. All
Yeah,
right.
so,
All right, you guys. Thank you for having me on.
Right,
Yes,
Steve.
sir.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Steve.
Okay, I appreciate it. Take care, guys.
See ya. Bye. All right, folks. That's a real honor there tonight. Yeah, Steve Sachs on the program, former Dodger, Yankee, Chicago White Sox, and an Oakland Athletic.
We have to thank.
He had a cup of coffee with the Athletic. That's all I can.
For having him on the show. It's like it's Lynn, if you're watching, thank you again. It's
Yes, Lynn, thank you very much for having her on. She did a great job. I know.
Yes, she did.
Sometimes during the last year and a half, I was trying to get him on. I'm like, he has to be available. I know he's Steve Sachs. He's just doing a podcast and all that stuff, but that guy's busy. He's a busy man. He does whatever he needs to do, and and it's great that you have Lynn, and maybe Lynn could help us out, maybe down the road, and get some other people on our program.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get all these cool people there, because this is like our childhood, flashback. Watching these players play in the '80s and '90s, and Matt, you know about Steve Sachs as well, right?
Oh yes, I do, and I do want to say it was an honor and privilege to have him on tonight.
Yeah, it was great, and we appreciate Lynn doing a